I've been trying to track down this lady for a very long time. Ever since my cousin Nikki introduced me to the band, she has been one of the most influential people in the alternative music scene, and her band Garbage have their new album coming out on June 11. No gods, no masters. It's Shirley Manson. Welcome to Wall of Sound.
Woohoo! Thank you. What an introduction.
Finally getting you here. I mean, you're no stranger to Australia. We've seen you touring down here left, right and centre. Soundwave Festival, Sierra May doing the A Day on the Green tour as well too. So obviously, you know, your second home is here, and it just sucks at the moment because we can't have you down here.
Yeah, we're crushed that we can't make it down to Australia just yet. But, you know, we are fingers crossed that we make the trip next year. You know, we'll just all have to see how it goes. But you know, Australia's played a large role in our career. And so it feels a wee bit funny not to make it over to do press, you know, in person and stuff like that. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. That's life, you know, and we've all had to make compromises. So here we are. We're doing our international press via Zoom.
And it's one of these situations that we've never found ourselves in before. We're living through a global pandemic and, you know, coming out the other side on top. And in saying that, though, the time away has given Garbage the opportunity to sit down and write a fantastic album, a great return to form, if you will. And we're finally starting to see these songs which are coming out. But funnily enough, they're not based around what happened with the pandemic. There is a whole bunch of stuff that led to the writing of this since 2018 when you first started, right?
Yeah, I mean, what's been weird though is like we wrote this record, finished it in very, very early 2020, like a few days really pretty much before lockdown. We had a few other things to do, but the main body of the album was done. And then we had to sit on it for, you know, a year and a half basically. And I was getting worried. I was like, the world will have changed by the time this record comes out. And yet it feels like the record is more and more prescient with each day that passes. And we found ourselves in the really peculiar position of having a record that's talking about things that are on all our minds by complete default. I wish I could say it was brilliance. It wasn't. It was just sheer like timing and kismet. And here we are. With a record we're very proud of, but I wish we could claim it as our own sort of master plan, but it wasn't.
Look, it's a situation of being in the right place at the right time with these songs based upon what was going on in the world. And hey, you know, it's out in the world right now. You'll listen to it and you'll go, right, this is reflective of what's going on. And being an anti-religious and anti-God person myself, like I latched onto it straight away. There's a lot of songs on there that appealed to me that I didn't think I'd, you know, appreciate. And so far, for example, Waiting for God is one of those songs that stood out to me more so than the singles. And I just think it's a fantastic representation of like your own thoughts and being able to express what's going on in your minds and put it out in the world and find people like myself who feel the same way.
Mate, first of all, thank you. It means a lot to me that you would pick out that song because to me that is the most important song on the record. And it is basically, you know, tackling the abomination of, you know, police violence and systemic racism. These subjects that are very important to me, that we talk about, that we examine, that we fix, that we figure out. As I've gotten older, the more and more outraged I've become at the way that Black, Brown and Indigenous peoples get treated, not just in America, not just in Great Britain, not just in Australia, everywhere. You know, this white colonialist kind of mentality. And I think there's a lot of ignorance. I think a lot of white people feel that they're being attacked. This has nothing whatsoever to do with you. This is a systemic problem that needs to be addressed. You're not going to lose anything by someone getting equal rights. You know, it's a no-lose situation for everyone. And I'm astounded that more white people don't speak out about this very issue.
Exactly, and you know, this is where the benefits of being in a band with such a prolific profile like Garbage is, where you can put these songs out there for people to listen to, and you've got your fan base who, you know, will obviously love and support everything you talk about and, you know, the fact that you're talking about these issues, but also you're going to get the newcomers who may not have heard, you know, Garbage back in the 90s or, you know, the 28 years you've been making music together, jumping on board and going, right, they're writing songs about what I'm into. I'm going to jump on board with this band. And then bang, they go through your back catalogs and discover just how amazing you have been throughout your entire career.
Well, thank you. That's really kind. I mean, I don't feel like we have deliberately used our platform. You know, we don't think of ourselves as a political band. We're not here to preach to anybody. We're not here to like lecture other people. It's more just a like, look, this is how we see it. This is how we feel about the world. And it's absolutely up to the listener whether they agree with it or don't agree with it. I'm sure there'll be a lot of old school Garbage fans that don't agree with the sort of tone of this record. And like you say, hopefully, God willing, there will be some new people that we touch. But either way, you can't really worry about that too much as an artist. You just have to follow your muse, you know, make songs that are about what you're thinking about at the time of writing. And that's all you can do, is be as honest as you can and hope for the best.
Well, I think you've done a pretty good job so far. I mean, you're still making music. You are still holding on to this incredible legacy that you have. And, you know, just taking a look at some of the songs that come to mind. I'm going to admit this right here. Feel free to rip into me. I'm a Garbage fan, but I've really only been a fan of the singles that have come out. And I remember watching Big Daddy with my mum back in the day and hearing When I Grow Up and then just jamming about to that song. And now here I am, 34 years old, and I still fucking love it like it was yesterday.
Well, thank you very much, Brownie. That's very kind of you to say so.
Garbage has been a band that's toured, you know, upwards of months, like for the extent of a whole entire year. How does a band put on the brakes with COVID? And then what do you do with realizing that you can't tour? You can't do what you do best?
I don't know. I have no answer to this. I mean, I was stymied the same way everybody has been. I know it's been a little bit better in your part of the world, but, you know, if you come from anywhere else, it's been a nightmare, and musicians can't function, and that's just been how it is, and we have to cool our heels and wait for better days. We have touring plans in the States in the late summer. We're going out with Alanis Morissette and Liz Phair, and we tour in North America, and then we're due to go over to the United Kingdom and open up for the great legendary Blondie. So we've got, you know, the later part of this year, we've got a lot of plans. Whether that will actually you know, come to fruition, I really don't know. I have no idea. And of course, the one thing we've all learned this year or last year is that none of us know what's around the corner or how to control it. So I'm just hoping for the best, and meanwhile we've made a record. We somehow managed, I really don't know quite how we managed it, but we did manage to do all the artwork and find a way of getting photos of the band together and do some recording remotely and so on and so forth. So it's kind of been interesting.
I remember a couple of years ago, obviously with the indefinite hiatus that Garbage went on, you all claimed that you wanted to go and pursue different things, just because obviously you were touring with each other so much, making music in each other's company, you know, day in, day out. When you have a situation like a global pandemic where you have to work remotely, did obviously that break that you had and when you came back to the band to work out your differences help in that factor? Or was it a situation of like, you know, just like old times?
That's interesting. I mean, I think it probably did help. Like, we're used to not seeing each other. And we're also old and we're really good at waiting. You know, as a musician, you have to wait. And then as you become an older musician, you become a genius at waiting. So here we are. We were patient and it's paid off, you know, and we've made a record we're really proud of. And, you know, that's all we can really ask for.
Look, I think everyone who's going to be a part of the Garbage legacy, whether that be the old fans, the new fans, or the fans that are chiming back in again, will definitely get something out of this. And it's an album that's going to make people think and possibly make some better changes around the world. No Gods, No Masters comes out June 11. Shirley Manson, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for stopping by.
You're very welcome, Brownie. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.